and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ace Ramirez, coming to you from Washington, D.C. Tonight we have updates from several of our correspondents in North and South America. May Davila in Ciudad de Panama reports about Panama providing free internet with students. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Substitute teachers present a challenge for Alberta school boards.
I'm Lynn Bramas in Washington, D.C.
President Trump visits Kenosha, former Vice President Biden to follow, and White House suspends Congress election security briefings.
Mila Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania government appealing the legislature to protect homeowners and renters from eviction.
May Ann Manzano Guerzon from Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Sheltered workshop programs to reopen statewide.
Diane Pashon in Edinburgh reports about Hidalgo County in Texas still recovering from Hurricane Hannah. Michael Hudson in Everett reports about the decline in COVID-19 cases in Washington State. Eli Austria in Pasadena, California.
LA County Parks and Recreation provides virtual and in-person visit options with Parks from Home and Parks After Dark programs.
For EBC Sports, Melissa Potes in Orlando, Florida reports about Chris Paul and the OKC Thunder forcing Game 7 against the Houston Rockets. And Julie Evangelista in Boston reports about the Celtics taking a 2-0 series lead over defending champions Toronto Raptors. Plus, a conversation with a K-8 teacher in Seabrook, Maryland, about the duty of educators to help mold outstanding and responsible individuals. But first, an overview of the COVID-19 situation. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time Wednesday, September 2nd, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 25,900,000. Top 3 countries with reported cases are US with more than 6 million, Brazil 3.9 million, and India with 3.7 million. The virus has claimed more than 858,000 lives worldwide. Top 3 countries with reported COVID-19 related deaths: US still number 1, more than 184,000. Brazil has 122,000, and India at 66,000. Our coverage begins now. With virtual mode of learning as the number 1 teaching option for schools today, Panama launches the Solidarity Education Plan to ensure student participation in virtual classes. To facilitate connection, Panama will provide free internet for its students. In Ciudad de Panama, May Davila has the details.
4 telephone companies signed an agreement with the Panamanian government which facilitates connectivity for students with the use of mobile internet for free. The companies participating in this support are Tigo, Cable and Wireless, Digicel, and Claro, and the plan will be activated on September 14 through the telephone numbers assigned by the operators for this purpose. The Solidarity Educational Plan seeks to facilitate the connection and participation of students in virtual classes through the ESTER and Office 365 team platforms offered by the Ministry of Education or MEDUCA. According to recent surveys carried out by the educational entity through the directors of official schools, they learned that 84% of students use cell phones, specifically the WhatsApp platform, to connect to classes, a situation that entails an expense for the consumption of data, both for the families of the students as well as for the teachers who teach classes. The survey data revealed by MEDUCA showed that the expense incurred by families to pay for data hinders the connection of students to classes. It is difficult for them to download images or have access to videos. MEDUCA records indicate that of the 827,583 students who started the school year, 524,719 have been connected through the different offers of the Ministry of Education, be it learning guides for middle and high school, workbooks on the 4 subjects fundamentals, math, Spanish, science, and social studies for primary education, and reading and writing booklets for first grade children. Students can request free internet from September 7 by filling up the request form for free internet on the website of the Ministry of Education. All students that are registered in this school year are entitled to benefit from this free mobile internet plan from the government. The program is divided as follows. Students who use the ESSER platform will have their monthly plan until December 31, consisting of 2 gigabytes of data for YouTube, free access to the ESSER platform, and Meduca pages. Those who use iTeams will have the same plan, with access to the Office Teams platform. Desde Ciudad de Panama, May Davila, Eagle News, vivimos en tiempos interesantes.
Thanks, May. On to more issues faced by schools. In Canada, substitute teachers present a challenge for Alberta's school boards. In Edmonton, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness tells us why.
Good evening, Ace. Well, school is resuming this week across Canada, this week and next in most jurisdictions. School board officials busy right now distributing personal protective equipment to teachers. They're making sure those hand sanitizer dispensers at classroom doors are full, and of course ensuring that there's enough cleaning staff to keep the buildings sanitized. In my province, Alberta, about 80% of school students say they will return to in-person learning. The rest, well, they've opted to study online at home. The last of the school districts to unlock their classrooms will do so next week. Now, one issue that boards have to deal with is substitute teachers. These are the instructors who fill in when the regular teacher is absent. And this creates a problem since the subs travel between a number of different schools. And there are fears that that movement could increase the risk of spreading COVID-19. You recall what happened with nursing homes, at least in Canada. There were staff members that worked at 2 or 3 different nursing homes, and the virus kind of traveled with them between the homes. And there are parents who fear the same thing could happen with subs. So substitute teachers are being advised to limit the number of schools they teach at, but they're still free, though, to accept assignments at multiple locations. As well, there'll be some extra bookkeeping for the schools they teach at. Those schools will have to keep a log of who's coming and going so that contact tracing can be easily done should there be active cases of COVID-19 in a school. Now, another problem that boards might find, it might be difficult to find enough substitutes. Why? Well, many have said they just don't want to expose themselves to the risk of being infected, and they've chosen not to accept any assignments at all this fall. There could be a shortage of substitutes for another reason. Many regular teachers have indicated they won't be reporting for classroom duty. They say they don't want to endanger their health. Some of them that have their immune system compromised because maybe they've been on chemotherapy or something, they've been assigned to online instruction. But others are simply saying, enough is enough. I'm taking early retirement. School boards won't know whether they have a full complement of instructors until, well, it'll be probably late next week. Teachers Union President Jason Schilling says in Alberta, somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 teachers have indicated they will not return this fall. How are you feeling about the reopening of schools in your area? While you ponder that, I wish you all good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Thanks, Tom. Before we let you go, we're kind of torn between, we have a shortage of substitute teachers, and then the substitute teachers posing higher risk of spreading the virus. Where do we place ourselves?
And this is the whole problem. This is the whole problem. This entire exercise is not risk-free, and we've heard that from our Chief Medical Officer of Health. There will be small outbreaks. It'll simply be a matter of containing them, but I don't think there is any way you could restrict substitutes simply to one location. There just aren't enough of them to go around. at that point, I guess you would end up canceling classes.
Right, but when it comes to prioritizing, is it prioritizing the education of the children or prioritizing their health?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. The teachers unions say, yeah, we want to keep our instructors safe. And of course, parents, understandably, want to make sure their children are safe. It is really a very thorny issue, and I can see why there's been a lot of controversy with this. The one good thing is because it's such a controlled environment, and I think we've learned from nursing homes, because it's such a controlled environment, they're making sure these buildings are sanitized. They're making sure that teachers have the PPE they need. Masks are required in common areas. I think it's grades 4 through 12. Younger kids, it's just harder to get them to wear a mask.
I agree. Both are equally important. It just boils down to all of us being responsible for our actions.
And that's the key, is the responsibility, following the rules, and wear the mask, even though you may not want to. And I know there are instructors out there who say, well, what difference does it make? The common area, nobody here is infected. I'm not infected. I'm not going to wear a mask. No, you have to take those responsibilities on yourself, and I think that's the key.
Good points, Tom. Thank you so much for your report.
Thank you, Ace.
When we come back, updates from our correspondents in Washington, D.C., Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Sicklerville, New Jersey, and Edinburgh, Texas. Eagle News America will return after this break. Stay with us.
Hi everyone, it's Kula Desma. Abangan ang part 2 ng Taggisa ng Galing dito lang sa Net 25.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Nakapagal, Bachelor's in Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Jofran David Riego, a DS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read U.S. cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosity, a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University to legit true grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ace Ramirez in Washington, D.C. In Washington, D.C., Eagle News correspondent Imelin Ramos has the details.
Thank you, Ace. It's raining here in Washington, D.C. right now with a 75-degree Fahrenheit weather or 24 degrees Celsius. Hopefully it will be brighter tomorrow as the race for presidency is getting more and more interesting. President Donald Trump visited Kenosha, Wisconsin, despite pleas from the governor of Wisconsin and the mayor of Kenosha not to visit their city. President Trump ignored their pleas, and on Tuesday, the president took his tough law and order message to the city that has been the center of many protests and upheaval due to the police shooting of a black man. Trump toured the damaged areas of the city. He was quoted as saying, "These are not acts of peaceful protest, but really domestic terror." His visit was met with mixed reactions. One supporter had a sign that said, quote, "Thank you for saving our town," while another sign read, quote, "Not my president." In addition to visiting the damaged areas of the city, the president held a roundtable discussion with members of the community. In his remarks, he mentioned about the great job that law enforcement was able to do. President Trump also spoke about his support for Kenosha and that he loves the people of Wisconsin. The president said that he'll help them rebuild. While some might say this visit was presidential, his political opponent, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden, accused President Trump of fanning violence for political gain. The Biden campaign said in a statement, quote, "Trump failed once again to meet the moment, refusing to utter the words that Wisconsinites and Americans across the country needed to hear today from the president, a condemnation of violence of all kinds, no matter who commits it." President Trump, on the other hand, accuses Biden of being weak in addressing this violent protest and seeking to paint Biden as being incapable of controlling the party's left wing. The former vice president is scheduled to travel to Kenosha on Thursday. As he spoke to reporters in his hometown of Wilmington, Delaware, he mentioned his upcoming trip. Let's take a look.
And there's been overwhelming requests that I do come because what we want to do is we got to heal. We got to put things together, bring people together. And so my purpose in going will be to do just that, to be a positive influence on what's going on, talk about what need be done, and try to see if there's a beginning of a mechanism to bring the folks together.
Biden's campaign also said that he would hold a community meeting while in Kenosha. Wisconsin is expected to play an important role in the November 3rd election. It's interesting to note that President Trump won the state in the 2016 elections. In connection with the elections, the White House has revealed that it will end the in-person briefings to congressional intelligence committees about foreign interference. These, of course, raise a lot of questions and concerns, especially from the Democrats. They reacted by describing this move as shameful, accusing President Trump of covering up Russian interference. Democrat Adam Schiff and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called for the administration and intelligence community to resume the briefings. As the election comes closer, every issue involving election interference and election tampering will certainly be scrutinized and debated. In Washington, D.C., I'm Lynn Bondoc Ramos, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Emeline, quick question. What was the reason behind the decision to end these congressional briefings?
Yes, Ace, that's actually a good question. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence answers that question by explaining through a letter written to top lawmakers. The letter written by John Ratcliffe states, quote, "I believe this approach helps ensure to the maximum extent possible that the information ODNI provides the Congress in support of your oversight responsibilities on elections, security, foreign malign influence, and election interference is not misunderstood nor politicized. You know, the explanation sounds reasonable, and Congress will still have access to classified written reports. As to whether or not this is political maneuver, I guess it depends on who you ask. But it is certain that Democrats are not happy about this move. Ace.
I bet. Thanks for the report, Imelin.
Thank you, Ace.
For many, effects of the pandemic include bills piling up and rent payments missed. To address this pressing issue, Pennsylvania appeals the legislature to protect homeowners and renters from eviction. In Swarthmore, Bureau Chief Myla Simbulan will tell us more.
Thanks, Ace. Before this pandemic happened, 1 in every renter struggles in keeping up with their rent. This is the reason why last March, when COVID-19 hit Pennsylvania, Governor Tom Wolf signed as part of its disaster declaration to protect vulnerable Pennsylvanians at risk of losing their homes during the pandemic. The eviction moratorium expired in May, so the governor signed another one. And on May 7, it expired as well. Another on July, which expired August 31st. This time, the state's Emergency Services Code does not allow the governor to provide further relief related to temporary housing. To further pause evictions and ensure people have a stable place to live as the economy continues to recover, legislation is necessary. Here's Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf to tell us more about it. Take a look.
But the Emergency Services Code limits my power in this particular area, and I cannot take any further action for temporary housing relief on my own. So I'm therefore asking the General Assembly to take 2 immediate actions. First, the General Assembly should pass a bill to extend the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures for a substantial period of time. I'm open to conversation on that. I would propose 90 days or even longer. The federal government has similarly extended the moratorium through the end of the year. But what we do here and what the General Assembly could do is to provide immediate help so Pennsylvanians can remain in their homes. We can't simply delay these payments forever. I understand that, and I said this yesterday. So we have to address the problem. So the second thing I'm asking the legislature to do is to provide financial relief to homeowners and renters by improving the CARES Act rent relief program.
Why is there an immediate need for extension? Executive Director of Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, Robin Weisman, will give us pertinent information. Take a look.
I think it's important just to point out a few facts. One is that nearly 28% of the renters in our state are extremely low income. And we already have a shortage of over 275,000 affordable housing units just for these residents. So for those residents, more than 30%, for 70% of them, more than 30% of their monthly income is being spent on housing, and that's too much. They have to forfeit all of the other bills that are important: food, healthcare, etc. So this became exacerbated. This existed prior to the pandemic, but I think the point is that it's been so exacerbated. And roughly, the estimate is that roughly 400,000 Pennsylvania renters will be unable to make August and September rental payments. Again, we all have an interest in housing security because this is not good for Pennsylvania's economic recovery.
To help renters, the governor outlined recommendations that was sent to the House and Senate. Raise the $750 monthly cap on rent relief to at least 130% of HUD limits. Eliminate the requirement that households be 30 days behind on rent to be eligible for assistance. Eliminate also the verification that applicants applied for unemployment compensation. Provide landlords and mortgages the option to forgive the remaining unpaid rent or mortgage payments or allow the balance to be repaid over 1 year. Here's Maureen Madden, Pennsylvania Representative District 115, to tell us more about these recommendations. Take a look.
Legislation that would accomplish the following: extend the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures, expand and protect the rent and mortgage assistance program, ensure tenants are protected by qualified legal representation, record ceiling for any and all not-for-cause evictions and foreclosures, and cut mortgage costs and red tape. Help mom-and-pop landlords get full access to emergency mortgage assistance program. Protect renters' credit ratings by disallowing landlords to report late or unpaid rent to credit reporting agencies. And lastly, Representative Mike Schlossberg and I plan to establish payment plans for renters, eliminate the late fees and interest accrued on back rent, and build necessary bridges between tenants and landlords through the creation of a mediation program.
To further help renters, the governor is proposing an additional $100 million for the rent relief program to provide more financial assistance on behalf of low to moderate income renters having trouble making rent payments as a result of the pandemic. Assistance would remain as grants with funds paid directly to landlords or property owners. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbulan, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Myla, that's a lot of money for, rent assistance. But the big question is, we have good renters and we have those problematic ones, the banned ones. Are they going to receive assistance as well?
According to the director of FHPA, they will not receive assistance. Only those renters that are affected by COVID-19. So not all renters, okay? Not all renters will be assisted. Only those that are affected by COVID-19. There is an application, so that they will be able to determine based on your application.
I see. So there's a process. Okay. All right. Thanks for the report, Myla.
Thanks, Ace.
To continue providing employment, job, and skills training to people with disabilities, the New Jersey Sheltered Workshop programs are set to reopen statewide. In Sicklerville, Eagle News correspondent May Ann Manzano-Gorzon reports.
Thank you, Ace. Today, Governor Phil Murphy, Senate President Steve Sweeney, and Assembly Speaker Craig Coughlin announced the state will provide CARES Act funding for the reopening of 26 sheltered workshop programs throughout the state. Sheltered workshop programs provide employment, job, and skills training to people with disabilities. Statewide, there are 26 programs operating 28 sites. All have been closed since early March as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The Memorandum of Understanding provides a total of $1,312,500 from the Coronavirus Relief Fund for reopening sites. Each provider will be able to apply for up to $25,000 for the initial reopening. Those funds will be allocated toward eligible reopening costs, including those for instituting social distancing, intensified cleaning, personal protective equipment, and providing remote opportunities for individuals in these programs. Remaining funds will be used to reimburse providers for additional costs incurred in the course of ensuring that reopening is done in a safe manner. Programs will be required to confirm that they have applied for FEMA reimbursements if eligible and that they are not receiving duplicate benefits. Each program has provided a reopening plan, which is being reviewed by the Department of Labor. The department is offering feedback to ensure the health and safety of the workshop employees, the employers, and the public. Meanwhile, here is today's statistical report of New Jersey's COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Department of Health of New Jersey, there are 329 new positive cases reported today, bringing a statewide total of 192,595 New Jerseyans tested positive. Sadly, we have 11 new deaths, pushing the total to 14,181 fatalities. New Jersey's current rate of transmission is 0.96, while spot positivity rate is at 2.0%. 0.14%. New Jersey remains on stage 2 of its road to recovery. And as for some weather update, it's now 10:11 in the evening here in Sicklerville, New Jersey, and it's mostly cloudy. Our current temperature is 78 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 degrees Celsius. The high today was forecast as 84 degrees Fahrenheit or 29 degrees Celsius. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Garzon, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Mayanne, how important is funding to the sheltered workshops there in New Jersey?
Is the funding to sheltered workshops is very, very important because it will allow them to, of course, as mentioned in the report, reopen, and this will allow them to feel a sense of normalcy, and the employees will be able to continue with their programs that are focused on the development of the disabled community. Ace?
I see. Thanks, Mayanne. Coming up, more updates from our correspondents in Everett, Washington, Pasadena, California, Edinburgh, Texas, Orlando, Florida, and Boston, Massachusetts. We will return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News America.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
The New Era University, in its 45th year of excellence, discipline, and service to humanity, will offer online education at all levels beginning this first semester academic year 2020 to 2021 through the NEU Virtual Learning Environment, or NEU VLE. New Era University offers a complete basic education cycle from kindergarten up to senior high school, offering all strands. NEU has 18 colleges, and 2 graduate schools. It also offers ALS and ETM. Best of all, NEU has the most affordable tuition fees among private universities in the Philippines. NEU is at Quezon City, the city of San Fernando, Pampanga, General Santos City, South Cotabato, Lipa City, Batangas, and Pinugay, Baras, Rizal. New Era University is under the stewardship of Dr. Dilo L. Rosas. What are you waiting for? Be part of the new normal. Enroll now. Classes start on October 5, 2020.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ace Ramirez in Washington, D.C. Some good news from the Evergreen State. COVID-19 cases begin to decline in Washington. In Everett, Eagle News correspondent Michael Hudson reports.
Thanks a lot.
According to the Washington State Department of Health, they released the latest COVID-19 statewide situation report, which reflected some good news, an overall plateau and slight decline in cases in some areas of the state, including King County, which is the biggest county in the state of Washington. Some key report findings include the reproductive number, how many new people each COVID-19 patient will infect, remained close to 1 as of mid-August. The Department of Health said the best estimate of the reproductive number as of mid-August was 0.86 in Western Washington and 0.91 in Eastern Washington. Health officials say the goal is a number well below 1, translating to COVID-19 transmission declining. The Department of Health is seeing a mix of disease activity across Washington. Good news is King County, along with Clark County, are seeing plateaus. Counties experiencing declines were Benton, Franklin, Pierce, and Yakima. But Grant, Lewis, and Walla Walla counties are seeing increases. The outbreaks continue to pop across the state, including in Walla Walla County at the Washington State Penitentiary, in Whitman County among off-campus college students, and in the Kitsap County Hospital. The Department of Health said these outbreaks highlight continued susceptibility in Washington. Although total coronavirus cases have increased throughout the summer, as the state reopened and testing increased, hospitalizations and deaths have remained remarkably lower than when the pandemic began in late winter, early spring. And I quote, "While we see some positive trends in our data, we must continue to think differently about the ways we interact with one another," warned Secretary of Health John Wiseman. It remains critical that we limit the size and frequency of our social gatherings, wear face coverings, and stay home when we are sick. A continued plateau of cases is not enough to safely open schools. To close, here are some recent numbers as it pertains to the coronavirus in Washington state. As of right now, we are at 78,062 positive cases and 2,019 deaths. Reporting from Everett, Washington, I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Michael. Los Angeles County Parks and Recreation is providing both virtual and in-person visit options with their Parks from Home and Parks After Dark programs. In Pasadena, Eagle News correspondent Eli Austria has the details.
Thank you. Los Angeles County Parks provides parents and students free virtual recreations with their Parks from Home program, in-person visits to the botanical gardens, and outdoor activities with their Parks After Dark in motion at parks and recreation centers throughout the county. With the start of this new school year and online distance learning for students, the Los Angeles County Parks and Recreation is informing parents and the public that they are open for virtual and in-person visits for everyone of all ages. For those who prefer to enjoy Los Angeles County Parks from the comforts and safety of their homes, the Parks from Home program is a great way to remain connected with outside recreational activities. The Parks Outdoors is being brought inside people's homes. Los Angeles residents can take virtual tours of their favorite parks, virtual hikes on popular trails, online specialty classes, online fitness and sports classes, and so much more. Parks from Home has much to offer to Los Angeles residents, from arts and culture workshops to technology classes like building a drone and digital filmmaking skills. On the other hand, for those who prefer to go outside for fresh air after remaining in their homes for so long, the Parks After Dark program is an alternative option for families. Los Angeles County Parks have closed off streets, so there is ample space for 6 feet social distancing, while parents and children exercise together by walking, bike riding, skating, or just having family fun and enjoying time together outdoors. There are also splash pads where children can cool off in this hot weather, and free in-person admission to the botanical gardens every third Tuesday of the month. Face coverings and masks must be worn when conducting in-person visits to the parks and recreation centers. Los Angeles residents are encouraged to visit the website at parks.lacounty.gov for additional information and listing of all services provided. In Pasadena, California, Eli Austria, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Eli, does the program include beaches? Or is the public allowed to go swimming, and what are the restrictions?
Right, yes. So, Ace, there are actually 3 county recreational centers that have beaches. These are the Castaic Lake State Recreational Area, the Santa Fe Dam Recreational Area, and the Frank G. Bonelli Regional Park. The public are allowed to go swimming with certain restrictions. So 6 feet physical distancing must be maintained, and face coverings must be worn at all times except while in the water. Gatherings of single households are allowed with a maximum of 10 people. Tents and umbrellas are not allowed on the beach. And in addition, the public are not allowed to drink directly from the water fountains, but they can fill their water bottles from these fountains only. Those who fail to follow any of these restrictions will be requested to leave the premises. There is another extreme heat warning alert for parts of Los Angeles County, with triple digits forecasted for this coming long holiday weekend. So we might actually see more families going to these places to cool off.
Thanks, Eli.
Thank you, Ace.
Hidalgo County in Texas is still recovering from Hurricane Hannah. In Edinburgh, Diane Pachon reports.
Thank you, Ace, and howdy from the Lone Star State. While the focus this week may have been on Hurricane Laura, here in Hidalgo County, residents and businesses are still recovering from the previous impact of Hurricane Hannah, which struck South Texas over a month ago. Governor Greg Abbott requested federal disaster assistance for Hidalgo County victims of Hurricane Hannah to the United States Small Business Administration. In his letter, he asked the agency to declare Hidalgo County a disaster area from the impact of Hannah, which created an economic emergency for the resident. He is asking the SBA to make long-term, low-interest rate physical disaster home and business loans and an economic injury disaster loans available to residents and businesses impacted by the disaster. If approved, these loans will be made available to affected citizens who qualified in Hidalgo County. Governor Abbott stated that Texas is working alongside communities in Hidalgo County to ensure they have the resources they need to rebuild. He stated, "I ask that the SBA quickly grant this request so that Texans in Hidalgo County can continue in their recovery efforts." Amidst the news of hurricanes and pandemic lockdowns, residents and tourists needing some vacation time can now have access to some of the Texas beaches this Labor Day weekend. According to the city of Corpus Christi, the Gulf beaches and Bay beaches will remain open and accessible by vehicle during September 5 to 7, 2020. Beach guests are urged to follow CDC guidelines and take daily health and safety precautions, and to play it safe while enjoying the beach. The recommended safety precautions include: observe and follow the flag warning system to be aware of surf conditions. Warning flags are placed all along the beach and at lifeguard stands. Group should be less than 10 people. Social distancing of 6 feet or more must be maintained, but if not possible, wear a face mask and wash and disinfect hands frequently. Avoid sharing utensils and common objects. Meanwhile, we now go to the city of McAllen, which has announced that it's extending the census deadline until September 30th, and informed residents through Twitter that if they don't complete the 2020 census, the Rio Grande Valley communities could miss out on funding for the next 10 years. The funding could help towards education, infrastructure, and public transit. McAllen city officials urge residents to respond as soon as possible. And speaking of public transit, the city of McAllen posted a big congratulations on its Twitter page for Metro McAllen, the city's public transit system, as it was recognized as a 2020 Outstanding Urban Transit System. In Edinburgh, Texas, I'm Diane Pachon. At Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Ace.
Thank you, Diane. And now for EBC Sports. The NBA has been a platform lately for so many issues, from how to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic to police brutality to racial equality. But when all is said and done, the drama on the court is what keeps fans loving the league. Here are some updates from the NBA playoffs. First, Melissa Potes in Orlando reports on the latest from the OKC Thunder Houston Rockets series. Melissa?
Chris Paul's fourth quarter heroics helped the Oklahoma City Thunder force a Game 7 against the Houston Rockets on Monday. CP3 scored 15 of his 28 points in the quarter, including a pair of free throws to steal Game 6.
Yeah, for our team, bubble life is different. When you are sort of on the ropes like that, down 3-2, like you got to pack. They have you packed and be ready for just in case, you have to leave the next day, so, we're not ready to go yet. And our team, we have had a memorable season, a lot of ups and downs and all that, and we just going to continue to fight. We wouldn't have it any other way.
We have a lot of confidence. We have a lot of guys that know how to play basketball. We've been doing a great job, building a great chemistry since the beginning of the season. So we know that we're going to be prepared in the best way to approach Game 7.
It's do or die for the Thunder and Rockets today, and the winner will take on LeBron James and the LA Lakers. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potes, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Melissa. From the Thunder Rockets series, let's get an update now on the Celtics-Raptors matchup, where the Boston Celtics have the defending champions Toronto Raptors on their heels after beating them again to lead the series 2-0. Julian Evangelista in Boston has a report.
Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, and Jason Tatum took full control in the fourth quarter in the Boston Celtics comeback win over the defending NBA champions Toronto Raptors on Tuesday night. Walker's step-back jumper in the final minute gave Boston the victory. Before Walker's clutch shot, Smart nailed 5 straight three-pointers in the quarter, and Tatum continued his hot shooting in the bubble, finishing the night with career playoff high 34 points.
For me to have these guys who can step up and just make huge plays the way they did, man, it's special. And it's a great feeling to know guys got my back like that. And I just really appreciate my teammates.
The first half, the shots I was taking were rimming in and out. They're a great shot. Just kept telling myself, all you need is one to go in, and you'll be right back there. And once I saw the first one go in, I knew that, the next time I catch it, I'm shooting it. If I'm open, and my teammates did a really good job. My first 3 in that fourth quarter came off, passes off of Jason's passes. And, his ability to see the floor and see the hot hand. And that's just how we've been playing in the bubble with this team. Really trust one another, and they just keep telling me, hey, we need you to be you, make some big plays. That's what I did.
The series is far from over. You got to win 4. And obviously it feels good to win. Tomorrow we're going to look at things that we did well, things we could do better. Keep competing like we have, no matter the circumstances. Up 10, down 10, we're going to keep playing.
Continue to tune into Eagle News for more NBA stories and highlights from the Orlando bubble. In Boston, Massachusetts, Julianne Lou Evangelista, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Julianne. A conversation with a Maryland teacher about taking on the duty as an educator to help mold outstanding and responsible individuals. That's next. We will return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News America.
Sa September 5 at 6 ay muli nating mapapanood ang mas pinalawak at mas pinalaking talent competition on Philippine television and online. Tagisan ng Galing Part 2! Muling samahan ang ating mga hurado na humanap ng mga Pilipinong may natatanging galing sa pagkanta at pagsayaw. Abangan ang kanilang performances na magpapayanig at magbibigay ng kulay sa ating TNG stage. Dito lang yan sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Dito lang sa Net 25.
Ako, the legendary Angelina. Oh my God.
Urban legend. We do not want to compete. Magpapasaya lang kami. Sabi ko, kumbaga sa tanghali, hindi naman pwedeng isang ulam lang. Mas maganda kung meron kang pinagpipilian.
Happy time!
Hi, I'm Ida.
Ida came back from her trip in Wuhan, China. She is a positive carrier of the coronavirus.
Hi, I'm Lorna.
Lorna is Ida's cousin. She can be a family member, a friend, a relative, a colleague, or anything related to Ida.
Oh, hi, I'm Faye.
Fe is not related to Ida. They don't know each other. She can be a stranger Ida meets on the train, in the supermarket, movie house, or in any public place. Now, Ida is in the hospital and is being treated, and Lorna is placed in quarantine. Ida doesn't know Fe. Lorna doesn't know Fe. And Fe doesn't even know anything.
Hi, I'm Inocencio.
Inocencio has no contact with any virus carrier. But if he goes out, it takes at least 14 days for the symptoms to show on Fe. This is the purpose of a community quarantine or lockdown, to give time for the healthcare professionals to find Fe and all those she had close contact with, and to keep Inocencio from contracting the virus. Let's stop the spread of the COVID-19. We salute all our frontliners and healthcare workers. We are with you in this fight against COVID-19. I am Tyronel Pililu from EBC Japan Bureau, because we live in interesting times.
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net25, your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
This is Eagle News America. I'm Ace Ramirez in Washington, D.C. Yesterday, we heard from students across the country about what they think makes a great teacher. Responses we got included a great listener, encouraging, supportive, believes in the student, teachers should be patient, and fun. Now, in this episode, we asked teachers this time what, for them, makes a great student. Let's take a look.
A good student is a good listener, is not afraid to ask questions, and someone who takes ownership of his own learning.
A great student is excited to learn, he's a great friend, and he's an awesome leader in the classroom.
For me, a great student is someone who is excited and eager to learn.
For me, a good student is someone who is hardworking, motivated to learn, always engaged in class, and is enthusiastic about learning, not about getting a particular grade. He or she understands the relevance of learning new information and connect it to their lives.
A great student does not give up, comes in class prepared, and knows when to ask for help whenever things get hard.
What makes a student great to me is being inquisitive and accepting constructive criticism.
What makes a great student? I think every kid makes a great student. I think anyone that wants to learn, willing to be challenged, somebody that has an open mind, everyone's a great student.
A good student is goal-oriented, is a hard worker, and is passionate about learning.
For me, an outstanding character makes a good student.
So there are a couple of things that makes a great student. One of them is being ready to learn, being prepared. You come to class and you want to learn. Us teachers want you to have not a fixed mindset, but a growth mindset. Those are the things that make a great student.
More so than thinking about what is a great student, I think it's more important to think about what behaviors will best contribute to effective learning and what behaviors maybe are not conducive to effective learning. Students really need to focus on understanding the material and determining where they are lacking in that understanding so that they can help their professors help them.
So the teachers have spoken. To be called a great student, one is expected to be a good listener, not afraid to ask questions, take ownership of learning, be excited and eager to learn, goal-oriented, inquisitive, and students should welcome constructive criticism, come to class prepared, of course, be willing to be challenged, be a great friend, and be an awesome leader. You see, teachers have expectations of students as well. It may be intimidating to some, but definitely they're achievable. Tonight, we get to talk to a K-8 teacher about his profession as an educator and what teachers and students now face teaching and learning during a pandemic. Joining us this evening is Arnor Galang in Seabrook, Maryland. Arnor, how are you? Welcome to the show. Hey, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Arnor.
Yeah, I've been working here at Prince George's County Public Schools as a media specialist. I earned my bachelor and master's degree of library information science back in the Philippines in the University of the Philippines. And I've been here for 13 years now.
13 years. You've been a media specialist for 13 years. And you teach library media to pre-K to grade students. You also teach intermediate, talented, and gifted to 4th and 5th graders.
That's right.
Technology concepts, technology, media, and design. You cover a lot of subjects. How do you compare teaching pre-pandemic and now during this pandemic?
During the pre-pandemic time, everything is readily available, and I know exactly what to do since I have been doing it for many years already. It was way easier that since students already know our class routines and we can collaborate in person. They can easily raise a question and I can give them immediate feedback. Good thing, for the past school years, I started using online platforms like teaching Google Classrooms, coding, video tutorials, using HyperDocs, and using G Suite or Google applications. And I was able to prepare them. We're not expecting this situation, but yes, good thing for me. I was able to imagine.
Well, where was the biggest adjustment? Was it with you or with the students? Who do you think had to adjust more?
I think the teachers need to adjust more because we need to prepare the lessons, and it's totally different now because during the pre-pandemic, it's face-to-face. Now you need to set different norms, different class rules, and different routines so that you can teach easily and effectively.
Right. And teaching virtually, I can imagine, because I see my kids, they're doing virtual classes as well. And sometimes the teachers don't spend that much time in front of, giving instructions. They just email what the things to do. Is that something you do as well? Or you spend more time in front of the camera?
Yeah, I used to do that, but I believe nowadays our students needs those social emotional skills. So we need during live lessons, I see to it that it's more interactive. They collaborate a lot. I use a lot of breakout rooms so that I can group them in smaller groups so they can interact with each other. And I was able to monitor them in smaller groups, and they provide me their answers on those worksheets that I give them.
I see. So it's pretty much the same as doing actual classes and the classrooms. You break them into smaller groups as well.
The only difference is we're not face to face.
Exactly. Hey, so you won the Middle School Male Educator of the Year, or Men of PGCPS. What does that stand for? Men of Prince George's County Public Schools. That's an award in June last year. Tell us about it.
Yes, I did not expect it. I was just doing my job, teaching, all the subjects I'm teaching to all the kids, and just my principal just told me to attend that session, and then I told my wife, "Oh, we need to attend this. I got an invitation." My principal told me to attend this event, so I was there, and I saw a lot of male teachers in there. I was overwhelmed. And then my wife told me that, "We gotta go. I don't think you're gonna win." I told her, "No, have faith. We can win this." Okay, so, and when they call the winner, we don't know who's gonna win. It's on the spot judging. So when they call my name, to be honest, I was about to hide, and then I would say I'm not honored, but I was already in there. I accepted the award, and I was able to speak in front of those people in different colors, and I see a lot of parents in there. The whole community was watching. That was really a big event, and it was really a big surprise for me.
So you didn't have a speech prepared?
No, it's an impromptu, like this.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they have a basis for giving you that award. They saw your diligence in performing your job and as an educator in molding the children of the future. I understand your wife is also a teacher. How are you two adapting as educators to mostly, virtual teaching?
Yes, we work as a team since our college days. We work during our thesis time. Now, the same thing, we're doing it right now. We prepared our lesson. We attend professional development. We connect with different colleagues. So we made connections to a lot of people. And actually, during the school closures last March, we spent a lot of attending professional development after school. And the media arts office in our county was able to invite me to be one of the curriculum writers. Woohoo! Apply all the lessons I'm teaching with the kids. So now I'm expanding it. I was able to share my expertise with my fellow teachers.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there some sort of competition between you two, you and your wife?
No, it's a team.
Because wife always wins.
She's always the winner. When I did my speech, she's the first one I mentioned.
Oh, good for you. Good, congratulations. Tell us about your students. How are they adapting? How are they adapting to this virtual schooling? Are there more problems compared to in-classroom classes? Are there more problems with virtual schooling, or are there more problems with in-classroom in comparison?
All right, so I see that the only problems are for the little kids. Since I'm teaching kindergarten and pre-K too, they're having problems with connecting with those passwords. I'm also the one resetting their passwords. So I need to make more accommodations for those students. Now for the big ones, since the 4th, 5th to 8th grade, it's not a big adjustment for them since I'm already using those technology tools with them during before the pre-pandemic. So especially the middle school students, they are the same students I had from the lower grades. So they are familiar with those tools. And I prepared myself by attending a lot of PDs, as I've said before.
I see. So they know you. They know your style of teaching as well. Right. Okay. So prior to the pandemic, what would you consider your biggest challenge?
As far as I can remember, classroom management. The first time I came here, during my first year teaching, I was assigned to a challenging neighborhood. It was very difficult to teach. I'm always scared to go to work, to be honest. I'm afraid that I might get in trouble and lose my job. The students are not used to having a Filipino teacher.
Right.
I speak, my size, I'm very small compared to them. But during those difficult times, I can still remember what my parents told me. Just pray. God is good to us. Just keep on praying. That's what I do up to now. I always go to a corner to say a short prayer before my class starts and pray at the end of the day to say my thanks. My patience was tested many times, but I was able to overcome it by connecting with my students.
That's great. And we've all probably heard common stories about teachers, especially with our race or with the different color being discriminated. I've heard stories about disrespecting teachers, even though you as educators in front of the classroom, being the authority inside the classroom, there's still incidents where the teachers are disrespected. In your opinion, what do you think makes a great teacher?
In my opinion, okay, it's not going to be that long, okay? A great teacher for me, you have to have a tremendous amount of care for your students. You have to have a desire to know your students. This is what I did. Understanding who they are, where they're from, what are their best interests, and what kind of contributions they can make for your class. That's what makes a great teacher for me.
Okay, so that's care and concern. What do you think makes a great student, though?
Okay, for me, a great student is able to connect what he learns from school in the context of the wider world. The sense of relevance is important for the student to develop a love of learning and thirst for knowledge. It goes beyond just getting good grades and doing good in testing. As a teacher, me myself, I must ensure that what happens in the classroom is linked to what exists in the outside world. On the other hand, parents, we need parents right nowadays, need to expose their children to a multitude of ideas and rich experiences. That's what makes a great student for me.
It was nice talking to you, Arner, but before we let you go, one quick answer. How committed do you think educators should be in taking on the duty to help mold responsible citizens?
You have to commit yourself, make a lot of sacrifice, burn a lot of calories, because you have to have stamina for it to prepare those lessons and be able to be there for students, because you need to reach out to them. You cannot miss any one of them. If you miss one, you lose everybody. That's my perception.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Arner. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Hope to see you again. All right, be safe. We continue to thank our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. We do appreciate your dedication. And as always, we give you a round of applause. This is Eagle News America. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ace Ramirez. We live in interesting times.